Question number 3, Matt Doocey.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance and asks, does he stand by his statement that there are more jobs and people are being better paid? If so, why?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, the latest household labour force survey shows unemployment down to just over 5%. It shows that in the last year 100,000 jobs have been created and that the average annual wage has increased well above the rate of inflation over the last year, which means higher real wages for households. The government will continue to focus on policies that underpin moderate and consistent growth that delivers more jobs and higher incomes to households.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Matt Doocey.
Given wages are rising at the same time inflation remains low, how is the spending power of earnings for New Zealand workers tracking?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, based on Statistics New Zealand figures, annual increases in earnings have now exceeded inflation for 19 consecutive quarters, or every quarter for nearly 5 years, starting from about the time the Labor Party said we had a cost of living crisis. This is the longest unbroken increase in real wages in the 26 years in which this has been recorded.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Matt Doocey.
How do employment levels in New Zealand compare to other developed countries?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, comparisons with other countries are interesting and in this case positive, but it's no reason at all to be complacent because there are still too many people who don't have work and too many people who would want to have higher incomes. But I can say that the employment rate in New Zealand, that is the proportion of all people over 16 in work, is now the second highest in the OECD. For every 100 people who are 16 or older, 66 have a job. And that includes people who choose not to work or retirees. In Australia, the equivalent figure is 61, in the UK 60, and across the OECD the average is 56 in 100 have a job.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Matt Doocey.
Does he agree with recent reports in the Dominion Post that wages have stagnated? And if not, why not?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, no, I disagree with it because it's not supported by the facts. Since this government came into office, average annual wage is up 25%, and that is more than double the rate of inflation over that period. The article, which I think came from the most recent Labor Party leader, is simply wrong.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can the Minister confirm that median household income has increased by 1% in real terms under his government, whilst it increased 27% under the last Labor government?
The Honourable Bill English.
No, Mr Speaker, I can't.
Question number 4.